What's up, everybody? I'm Matt Brody, and this is Simply Must Go, and today we are going to be talking about my new IceCo APL20 refrigerator freezer. This little guy is awesome. Let's get into it. So the IceCo APL20 is a 20-liter fridge or freezer, meaning you can actually set this to be a freezer as well as a fridge. Not at the same time, you get to choose one or the other, but it can do that. So its temperature range goes all the way down to like -4 degrees. So if you want to bring ice cream or something with you on the trails, you can do that. One of the things that I really love about this fridge is the gorgeous aluminum shell. You know I like my aluminum fridges, and this one just has that really classic sort of retro styling that obviously I really appreciate. But not only that, the inside is also done in this sort of brushed aluminum, and it looks gorgeous inside and out. Honestly, this fridge looks like it could have been designed by Apple, and maybe that's why they called it the APL. Maybe that's short for like Apple. I don't know. Anyway, the design on this is absolutely fantastic, and I love the way it looks. So as you can tell, this is not an incredibly large fridge. This is actually one of the smaller DC-powered fridges that's out there. But in terms of dimensions, it's right at about 2 feet long, about 13.5 inches wide, and we're looking at just under 12 inches tall. So it's not a crazy big fridge by any means, but in a lot of ways that's really nice because sometimes these fridges are just so big, and if you're going out by yourself or something like that on the trail, you've got a lot of extra room that you don't need. Having a smaller fridge, particularly if you're solo camping, may be exactly what you want. Not only is it small, it's also really lightweight. This weighs at just under 23 pounds. So particularly in a Jeep, when you got a bunch of gear and weight starts to become an issue, a lighter fridge, definitely a bonus. So like I mentioned earlier, this is a 12-volt fridge, which means it's designed to plug into the cigarette outlet of your car and run that way. IceCo does provide you with all the necessary cabling for that. So you have your 12-volt cable. They also provide you with an AC cable and a power brick. So if you want to plug this into shore power or an AC outlet, you can easily do that. Another thing that I really like about this fridge are the latches. These latches are really strong. They're really durable. They're also made of metal. There is no plastic anywhere on that. And they cinch down nice and tight, keep everything secure, and they won't rattle. There's no play in these, so they don't rattle. Speaking of not rattling, the hinges on the side are spring-loaded, and so they pull the handle down, so these are not going to rattle either. These aren't going to go anywhere. They don't shake, they don't vibrate. They're actually also really good if you want to cinch down the fridge in the back of the Jeep or the truck or whatever you've got. These are really strong, also made of metal, and you can cinch that down with straps or something like that using these handles. They will support that all day long. So one of the really interesting features of this fridge is how long it takes to cool down. This unit is actually designed to cool down in about 15 minutes. And in my tests, that's what it did. It went down from whatever it was, 70 something degrees down to 35 degrees in right about 15, maybe 13 minutes, something like that. So it cools down really quick and it holds that temperature really well. So if you're kind of on the go, you throw everything in the back of the Jeep, put your food in, and then start out, you're not going to be wasting a ton of extra power and time cooling this down. You can really just sort of throw it in and go with it. So the compressor on here is really nice, not just from a speed standpoint, but also from a basic power consumption standpoint. So I ran a test with this. I plugged it into my 500-watt battery pack, and I put a couple of 2 liters in there just to sort of regulate the temperature, and I ran it to see how long it would last. And I'm going to ask you to leave a comment down below and guess how long this lasted on a 500-watt battery. All right, you got your answer? So this lasted for over 5 days. It blew my mind. My other fridge, when I run it on my 500-watt battery pack, it lasts 36-ish hours. I plugged this in on a Friday morning at 9 a.m. and today is Tuesday, and it died around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So 5+ days, almost 100 hours of runtime on a 500-watt battery is absolutely remarkable. I was expecting this to last 36, 40 hours, something around that nature. To have a fridge run for over 5 days on a 500-watt battery is just awesome. I mean, you can really stretch out your trips, particularly if you're solo camping with something like this. And you add into that the idea of running it on solar or having through power on your battery. And I mean, you could go for a really, really long time and never have to worry about your fridge running out of power. So full disclaimer, that whole test was done in my house in a very regulated temperature. So real world conditions may vary that some. Obviously, if the sun is just hitting this really hard and heating up the metal, it may cause the compressor to turn on more because it's just trying to keep up with it a little bit more. They do sell an insulated cover for this. So if you're so inclined and you want to get that, you can buy that separately. That will help keep this cool and keep the sun off of the direct metal a little bit. Should help you with your power consumption even more. And while we're talking about the compressor, I will say that this is also ultra quiet. Like I said, I had this running in my living room for 5 days and I never heard it unless I was literally right up next to it, and then you kind of hear a little sort of noise from the fan. But if you're just a few feet away, for all practical purposes, it's silent. So inside you've got two sections. You've got a smaller section that's on top of the compressor and your larger main section. You can fit about 4 cans of Diet Dr. Pepper in the smaller compartment, and obviously you've got a much bigger compartment to put things like your meats, your eggs, your whatever else you want in there. There's plenty of room, particularly if you've only got 1 or 2 people. It's going to be great for that. So in terms of durability, obviously this metal is going to be an incredibly durable material, but the whole unit is really built very well. In fact, it's water resistant, meaning you can actually get this rained on in a light rain, right? Like, don't leave this out in heavy rain or even moderate rain. What I take that to mean is if you leave it out and it's like in the morning and it's got dew all over it, that's fine. It's not going to hurt it. If you're outside and it starts raining and you grab it and bring it inside, that's fine. It's not going to hurt it. You know, you don't want to leave it outside in the pouring rain, but it is water resistant, which is a pretty cool feature for a fridge. One of the other things that I think is really special about this fridge is not only is it going to be really strong and durable, but IceCo is giving it a 5-year warranty. So if that's giving you peace of mind to know that you're going to be out and they believe in this product enough to give it a 5-year warranty, not just a 1-year or a 2-year, 5 years is a long time for a fridge like this. So for them to give it a 5-year warranty means they really believe that this is going to be a very durable fridge. So let's talk about use of this, because this has some pretty interesting features that I've never had in a fridge before. So to control this, it's pretty easy. There are 3 sort of standard buttons. You have your power on, and then you have your temperature controls, and you can press 2 of those buttons and change things like the compressor speed from max to eco. Eco is going to save that compressor from working so hard, particularly right off the bat. And you can also change its battery safe mode, meaning you can set it so that it's going to protect your battery from wearing all the way down. That's particularly important if you're going to be attaching this to your car's starter battery, because you don't want this to run your car's starter battery all the way down. But you can do all of that from these 3 buttons here, which makes it super simple. But what makes it even more crazy and more simple is the fact that this has Bluetooth. And I will be the first to tell you that I am not so much a fan of everything in the world being connected via Bluetooth. And quite frankly, I thought the idea of a fridge being connected to Bluetooth was sort of unnecessary, because most of the time we are setting a temperature that we like and we are sort of setting it and forgetting it. We're setting it the first time we set it up, and we're not really ever changing it. We're just turning it on and off. That said, I have not realized how nice it is to have the peace of mind to be able to check my phone to make sure that this is running in at temperature. Because what I can't tell you how many times I've pulled off on the side of the road or on the side of the trail just to run around the Jeep, open up the tailgate, and make sure the fridge is still running, because I'm a little paranoid about the fridge stopping without me knowing it. So being able to check that on an app from the front of the Jeep without having to stop has actually been really, really nice. And it's a bonus feature that I really did not expect to care for or need or even use. And I'm finding that I use it quite a bit. But the nice thing about the app is it's super easy to use. You get a heads-up display of exactly what the temperature is set to or what the fridge is actually at. It's easy to change from maximum to eco in terms of the compressor, or change that battery safe, and make sure that all those settings are done really easily without having to go through the hassle of pressing multiple buttons and changing things and making sure you understand what the display is saying on the side of the fridge. So it makes it super simple. It's also like one touch to put it into freezer mode. It really is a nice app. It's very effective and it's well designed. There's a lot that I like about this fridge. The only downside that I can really find is the price. So it currently retails for about $4.99, which is not cheap, but it's also not the most expensive fridge in its class either. It's kind of, what I can tell, sort of in the middle ballpark of pricing for fridges like this, especially with it having all metal and Bluetooth. Those materials and that technology just costs a little bit more to have. That said, if you want to go and get one of these for yourself, you can save 12% by using the coupon code SimplyMustGo. So you can save a little bit of money, and it also helps support the channel a little bit. So if that's something of interest to you and you think about buying this fridge, I'd love for you to click the link and use that to do it. So who do I think this fridge is really for? So from a overlanding, off-roading perspective, I think this is really for the person who's going out for a day or two, or the solo camper who's going to be out and doesn't want to take up a lot of space in their rig. One of the things that I know I'm going to be using this for is strapping it in the back of Emo, my 93 YJ, and taking it to off-road parks to be able to have some drinks and snacks and stuff there. This is the perfect little sort of setup for that. All right, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I am really excited about this fridge, and I'm super excited that IceCo decided to reach out and send me this fridge to do a little review on and to test it out. Again, if you're interested in watching this in the real world on the Fat or at Jeep Beach, I will post those videos here. And until next time, God bless, and we will see you on the trail.